What's up YouTube? I'm Wel-Don. Welcome back to the channel Wel-Don Aquatics. Tonight's video, I want to delve into a discussion about something in the aquarium hobby you either absolutely love or you absolutely hate. Tonight, guys, I want to talk about snails. Now, snails is something in the aquarium hobby that it's a complete love-hate relationship. You either love it, you either hate it. There's really no in between. Now, personally, I think snails are one of the most beneficial things to a thriving aquarium. Now, there are so many different types of snails that often they get confused for just the common pest snails. Now, pest snails that people view them as are things like the ram's horn snail, the bladder snail, or they also call them the pond snail. Now, ram's horn and bladder/pond snails are slightly different, both of which will breed profusely in your aquarium, very prolifically. I personally love them. Another main one that people cannot stand is the Malaysian trumpet snail. Now, personally, I feel there are benefits to each of those snails in the aquarium. Other snails that people breed for actual enjoyment or the beauty of them is something like the mystery snail, which you can get in all sorts of different colors. Jades, blues, yellows, browns, very beautiful. And they lay their egg sac up out of the water, so they'll actually come up out of the water, usually like the lid of your aquarium, on the rim, on the inside if you have a lower water level. And that way you can actually, if you choose to, remove that egg sac and you're not going to have hundreds of baby snails in your aquarium. Another snail is the nearite snail. Again, it's a very niche snail. The nearite snail will not breed in fresh water. It has to have brackish water to breed, but it will lay eggs around a freshwater tank. So a lot of people freak out, think there's something else when they're not. But nearite snails are one of the best algae eaters in the hobby. Something similar to the nearite snail I have found is the Japanese trapdoor snail. The Japanese trapdoor snail is probably one of my favorite snails right now in the fact that it is actually a live bearing snail. Instead of laying eggs once every few weeks, once every couple months, it lays a live young. Really cool for a snail in my opinion, and they have great teeth that actually will dig into some of that harder green algae that builds up on your aquarium glass. And things like the ram's horn snail and that bladder snail we talked about previously, they do a really good job at cleaning up detritus in your aquarium. Now, people will often see them on plants, think they're eating the plants. What they're actually eating is dying matter from the plant. So you don't have to worry about that too much. People, again, some people hate them in their aquariums. I personally love them. I have them in my rice fish tank right now. Some mystery snails I'm trying to breed. My Japanese trapdoor snails are with my guppies. I'm trying to get some ram's horn snails going again. Something like the Malaysian trumpet snail burrows into your substrate and, in my opinion, really aerates that substrate. And my previous 220 gallon tank, my plants were thriving, and I'll actually give credit to that to my Malaysian trumpet snails. Something like a sand substrate, I firmly believe, in my opinion, that it benefits from Malaysian trumpet snails in the substrate because it's cleaning up all that detritus you necessarily can't get to, along with assisting the plants in getting that detritus. Again, they breed very quickly, and when I shut that tank down because it burst and was scooping the sand out, I found thousands of those snails. They are insane at how fast they breed. Another reason I personally love snails is they make great food for my Mabu pufferfish. Again, I don't get the enjoyment of feeding off live animals to another animal, but the fact they have that shell grinds his teeth down. It's a great substitute for like frozen shrimp or other food items that I substitute into his diet. And because like ram's horn snails can breed so fast, it's actually a sustainable food source for pufferfish. Another thing I really like is that in my sand substrates, when I had my pufferfish on them, they actually go through and will blow the sand like they do in the wild, looking for crustaceans, snails, that type of thing. So the Malaysian trumpet snails make a fantastic snack source, so say, for pufferfish. Now the argument there is of how do snails get into aquariums, right? Let's say you do not want snails in your aquarium at all. One thing that people recommend, like the main way they get into your tank is going to be through live plants. If you buy live plants from a friend, a vendor online, I guarantee you 99% of the time they're going to come in with snail eggs on them. So people will recommend you do something what is called bleach dipping. You actually make a water bleach solution and dip the plant into it, kind of in hopes you kill the snail egg, so it's not a surefire way. I personally, again, I think that really harms your plants. So one way you can do is buying tissue culture plants. They are grown like in a lab base. They're very clean. They come pest free because they're actually lab tissue cultured. Let's say you get snails in your aquarium. There's actually a snail called the assassin snail that will kill and eat other snails. Again, you have to be careful though, because even assassin snails will breed rather quickly in aquariums. So people get a pest snail in their tank, then they go buy an assassin snail to take care of that snail, and then it's, you know, it just continues from there and there and there. Excuse me. Fish can have an impact on the snails. We know pufferfish go after them. A lot of the loach species will eat snails. So again, in my opinion, it's either you love them or you hate them. You may like snails for certain reasons, like breeding the mystery snail for the color. There's actually some blue ramshorn snails that are really pretty. I personally just like the variety they bring to an aquarium. I like the algae eating benefits, the detritus cleanup, and their food source. So I'm curious, from your experience in keeping aquariums, let me know down in the comments below. Do you like snails? Do you like them? Do you hate them? What kinds do you like? What issues have you seen with them? Let me know your experience with snails. And like I said, I personally really like them. I intentionally add them to my aquariums. I think they're great. Now, if I was going for that pristine, beautiful aquascape, maybe I would try and keep them out. But I'm a hobbyist who just loves what I'm doing. So thank you guys for joining me for this interesting discussion. I hope this helps some of you. Hope this helps you decide if you want to try and keep snails in your aquarium or if you want to try and actually keep them out of your aquarium. So again, guys, thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you in the next one.